fifth in the nation in block shots. She has 18 in the Bruins' last 5 games. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
Hey, this is Zoe Williams, the voice of reason, and for over 20 years, Parkside Economic Development Corporation has served Leimert Park and surrounding communities, empowering tomorrow's leaders and changing lives. Parkside EDC has awarded over $400,000 in college scholarships while sharing economic principles of the Big Five of money with students and their families. Parkside EDC partners with organizations like the Brotherhood Crusade to assure our youth have the financial acumen to succeed. Parkside EDC provides families and businesses with financial insights, offering free online, on-site, and on-air B-Warp presentations. The Black Wealth Attainment and Retention Programs helps our community acquire, sustain, and pass down legacy wealth. High school seniors can apply for this year's scholarship awards at parksideedc.org. Scholarships will be awarded at Parkside EDC's Gospel/Jazz Brunch on Sunday, April the 27th. For details, tickets, or donations, please visit parksideedc.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
It's all love, it's all love, all love. No dairy, no sweets, only ripe vegetables, fresh fruit and whole wheat. I'm from the old school, my household smell like soul food, bruh. Curry falafel, barbecue tofu, no fish though, no candy bars, no cigarettes, only ganja, fresh squeezed juice from oranges. Exercising daily to stay healthy, and I rarely drink water out the tap cause it's filthy.
Lentil soup is mental fruit, and ginger root is good for the youths. Fresh vegetable with them ital stew. Sweet yam fries with the green callaloo. Careful how you season and prepare your foods, cause you don't wanna lose vitamins and minerals, and that's the jewel. Life brings life, it's valuable, so I eat what come from the ground, it's natural. Let your
KBLA Talk 1580. Yep, it's time to be well, be healthy, be well rounded, and it's fun to have back on. It's a very Mercury retrograde moment. He is a celebrity chef, a living superfood nutrition specialist, a dynamic main stage speaker, and one of the most productive, prolific health research writers for his generation, Chef Keidi Awadu. Good morning.
My beloved sister, Dominique DiPrima, it has been too long since you and I have had these deep conversations. What a joy it is to be with you again today, and much greetings to all of the KBLA family today. I hope you're all in beautiful spirits.
Yeah, it has been far too long. I feel like that's my fault, but I'm glad that we've got it together now, and you're here on KBLA on First Things First, because we go all the way back to the front page. Actually, before the front page, we go all the way back to street science. Now that I'm thinking of it.
Luckily, neither one of us is getting any older.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? And it's crazy because I hear your voice and I automatically get hungry. I'm like, where are my snacks? Where are my snacks, Chef Keidi? But you're a chef. You're also a philosopher, I'd say, about food and well-being. But talk to me about, let's start real basic here, because we have some folks from the KBLA delegation who are not as familiar, and then we have folks with our family here who go way back, just like you and I do. Talk to me about the pivot to fully raw living foods.
We do know, and it is indisputable, that food is nature's most perfect medicine. And for the millions of years that it took for human evolution to the stage that we are right now, for the overwhelming majority of that length of time, our bodies were deeply integrated into the natural local environment. And so therefore, to sustain us over that long period of time, nature gave us our medicine. It was in the food. It was in the sunshine. It was in the herbs. It was in the exercise necessary for us to just function in the day. It was in so many natural patterns of living, which most species on the planet still live within that natural element unless until they become domesticated by humans. And now we can see, not only for humans, but the animals that have been the most closely domesticated and living under human willpower and in many times unnatural environments, we're seeing this whole spectrum of acute and chronic diseases taking over. So the fundamentals of this is that nature made the food perfect. And from my understanding, nature didn't cook the food in the overwhelming majority of cases. Cooking something over 160 degrees would have required a scalding volcanic lake or a stream or something like that. That wasn't where we went to get our food. Where in nature did we find a means to cook meat over 160 degrees, or else that meat might kill us, literally? So we're getting back to the original plan. I will say this every day, all day long. Food is nature's most perfect medicine, and the way the Creator made it was as close to perfect as we should be consuming it.
Well, when you refer to people possibly dying because they're not heating up their meat at however many degrees, you're referring to the fact that not only are you a raw food chef, but also a vegan chef, because people do eat steak tartare, which is raw beef, and they do eat sushi, which is raw fish, and animals eat, other animals besides humans eat raw meat every day.
Yeah, I can recall, since you bring that up, it's been over 40 years, but I can recall the last raw seafood eating was raw oysters. And by 2 or 3 hours after that, I knew I would never, ever again put raw oysters in my body, as I caught the absolute worst gastroenteritis and was vomiting all night long from the pathogens that were in those raw oysters. So what happens is people do build up a tolerance to many of these toxins that we're regularly consuming, whether they be chemical toxins masquerading as food, but they build up tolerances to other things. If we examine the details, the cellular biology of the foods that are commonly eaten in the United States, it is a catastrophe. That's why they call it SAD, the standard American diet.
But there's levels to this, right? People think, I'll be a vegetarian. I'm just going to stop eating meat, but still living on potato chips and processed breads. There's people and lots of substitute meats and, beyond this and beyond that. Talk to me about that, the vegetarian or vegan, what my girlfriend Noelle used to call being a junk food vegetarian.
Vegan junk food. Your friend is absolutely right. As you mentioned, there are levels to this. For many people, just the mere act of not eating pork is a revolutionary step forward. For many vegetarians and vegans, that's where they began. They just gave up the foods that had the worst reputation. Beyond that, eating what I call carcass food and the residual toxic hormones. See, the last act that carcass food goes through, the beef or the sheep or the pork or whatever, the last act of their life is a violent death. And what happens is our adrenal glands, which sit on top of our kidneys, are responsible for the fight or flight syndrome. So a violent death is obviously going to trigger the most violent hormonal reaction from the adrenal glands. And what happens is the animal's body never gets a chance to get rid of those toxic chemicals, those adrenal chemicals, from the bloodstream. So they end up in the food that we consume, and we wonder why humans have so many hostile intentions. It's because we've been consuming on a regular basis these hormones that are related to fight or flight. We can do better than that, but we're going to have to do it reasonably, intelligently, and I say do it with full scientific literacy, and that's why I write the books.
Yeah. Scientific literacy, not fashionable at the moment, but but clearly, there is a science to food. You call it nature's perfect medicine, and we're imperfect beings. We have cravings and desires, but however, there is a science to it, and but yet doctors and most food preparers and food nutritionists even don't know that science.
You bring up a very good point. Most of us, you and I are at an age where many of our peers are dealing with the frequency of crises related to our bodies aging. Many times when we find ourselves going to the hospital to visit those who are going through an acute crisis or maybe a chronic disease crisis, if we look at the food that is being served in the hospitals where there are going to be recovery, Dominic, have you ever seen that the food that the hospitals are serving them are the very same foods that make them chronically ill in the first place?
Yeah, I have seen that.
Healing food.
It's incredible.
Healing food should be the mainstay of every healing environment. So if the hospitals will not serve a sick or disordered client healing food, then how about let's just bypass the hospitals and I say eat the healing food at your home every day, all day long, and stay out of the hospital. If you have to go to the hospital, then you can enjoy the food that makes you sick.
I know. I've never understood this Jell-O thing. There's Jell-O. It's basically pork pieces. Anyway, don't let me get started. Well, when we come forward, we're talking with Keidi Awadu. He's a living superfood nutrition chef, a celebrity chef. I do want to look at that, because we started out with what we don't want. I want to look a little bit at what we do want. You're advocating for a full raw vegan diet. Why? What are the benefits? And what does that create in our body systems? Well, and how do we even get there? We'll look at that and more. We're taking your questions, 800-920-1580. But if you don't have any, I got you. I'm Dominique DiPrima, and this is Unapologetically Progressive, Unapologetically Healthy, KBLA Talk 1580.
The station you turn to when you've had it up to gear with cultural incompetence. KBLA Talk 1580. Before the fire, Altadena was a real-life Wakanda. A thriving black oasis just 15 miles from downtown Los Angeles. 80% black residents were homeowners, building intergenerational wealth against the odds. It was a hub of black-owned businesses, churches, and cultural institutions. It stood as a symbol of black resilience and economic independence. Then, in a matter of hours, it was gone. The fire tore through homes, swallowed businesses, and left behind a painful void. But was it just an unstoppable act of nature, or was negligence involved? Did officials ignore early warning signs? Were the response efforts delayed or insufficient? What role, if any, did corporate or government failures play? Survivors are demanding answers. Don't miss our KBLA Talk 1580 Town Hall. The Eden Altadena Fire, 100 days and counting. On Wednesday, April 16th, 4 to 6 p.m. at the Robinson Park Recreation Center, 1081 North Fair Oaks in Pasadena. Join Dominique DiPrima, Nee Cordelai Corte, James Farr, Tavis Smiley, and a panel of survivors, community leaders, and experts as we commemorate day 100 since the wildfires flared up. And we discuss where where we go from here. It's KBLA's Eden Altadena Fire, 100 Days and Counting Town Hall, Wednesday, April 16th, 4 to 6 p.m. at the Robinson Park Recreation Center in Pasadena. Light refreshments to follow. Admission is free, but sign-up is required at our KBLA1580.com website. This is a community call to action, brought to you by KBLA Talk 1580 and Quinn Emanuel Trial Lawyers. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
How serious is youth vaping? Irreversible lung damage serious. 1 in 10 kids vape serious, which warrants a serious conversation from a serious parental figure like yourself. Not the seriously know-it-all sports dad or the seriously smart podcaster. It requires a serious conversation that is best had by you. No, seriously, the best person to talk to your child about vaping is you. To start the conversation, visit talkaboutvaping.org. Brought to you by the American Lung Association and the Ad Council.
I can't believe how spotless my floors look after using the Swiffer Power Mop. No more dragging around a heavy mop and messy bucket. Now I get the same deep clean without all the work. Thanks to the powerful solution and scrubbing pad of the Swiffer Power Mop, dirt and grime don't stand a chance, and I don't break a sweat. Mic drop. Mop drop.
Swiffer Power Mop. Swiffer Power Mop.
A smarter way to mop. Try it or your money back.
Thanks for waking up with Dominique DiPrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
Chef Keidi Awadu, living superfood nutrition expert, and he's been mastering this process of raw, vegan, delicious cuisine. By the way, if I had this guy cooking for me, I could do raw vegan. I really could, because it's super yummy. But you've been mastering this for like 4 decades now. And it's funny, he says, you say you'll teach us secrets so that we, quote, don't get sick, stay off drugs, live a long time. If we could just add look cute to that, it would be perfect. Well,
looking cute is part of our mental health as well. Mental health, biological, physical health, all go together. So looking cute, we encourage that.
That's part of the program. So I'm looking for the upside here. You know, we were talking about what you call carcass foods and the spreading of disease and everything. But at the same time, I feel like in my lifetime, I've seen a huge uptick in people's consciousness about food, and there's many more things available that actually do contribute to well-being and vibrancy. So let's talk about what is the upside of what you're asking us to consider.
The upside of it is, first of all, the food is absolutely delicious. I am, as you had mentioned earlier in the introduction, I'm an award-winning raw vegan chef. I also do cooked food as well. In fact, I have 3 books out now in the Living Superfood series. The first 2, Living Superfood Volumes 1 and 2, are collections of raw vegan recipes. But the third is a collection of raw and cooked. Plus, I have another short book, not necessarily short, but another real compact book called Transforming Soul Food for the Body, Mind, and Spirit. And in that book, Transforming Soul Food, I feature 25 of my favorite vegan soul food recipes. So we can imitate the cooked food. I use a dehydrator to make cornbread, whereas I don't have to cook it, but it still has the texture and the flavor and all the things we love about cornbread. The main thing about it is the body has a critical need for 8 classes of nutrients. However we get these nutrients with the highest integrity possible allows the body to self-heal the way that nature designed it. These 8 classes of nutrients, real quickly, are hydration, vitamins, minerals, the full spectrum of amino acids from protein. People say, if you don't eat meat, where you're going to get your protein? Well, there's everything living is made of protein, so that's not even a good question. The good question is, if you're not eating meat, where you're going to get those 9 essential amino acids that your body does not synthesize. And we say, well, let's go ask the cow, the chicken, or the lamb where they got those amino acids. And so you need those amino acids, we need enzymes, we need fiber, we need carbohydrates, and essential fatty acids. If we're getting all 8 of those classes of nutrients every day, in a high integrity basis, guess what? We got it. We're healthy, we're vital, we're vigorous, and hey, Dominique, I'm about to turn 70 years young this year.
Wow,
and
I had no idea.
I'm still doing my daily push-up routine, at least 1 to 3 sets. One set has to be at least 250, or else I feel I've cheated myself.
Wow. Well, happy 7th decade. Happy 7th floor to you, Chef Keidi. But, okay, hydration, vitamins, minerals, amino acids, enzymes, fiber, carbohydrates, essential fatty acids. All of those every single day. Every single day? Most people don't even come close to that, do we?
Most people don't. Most people don't have a plan for it. But those of us who fail to plan, have quote-unquote plan to fail, I say just the opposite. Most of us, those of us who plan to succeed at planning.
So, I mean, it sounds like a long grocery list, but I'm imagining all of those 9 could be easily found in one meal if you were being scientific about it. So give me an example of something I might consume that would have all 9 of those things, categories.
Absolutely. Well, I do clinical nutrition. So people take me on as their nutritionist if they have a challenge, an issue. I had one client I just began in this past week, and I've known her for some time, but she was having many problems. She was on this drug called medroxyprogesterone. If you recognize that progesterone, you know this has to do with hormones. And she was having terrible problems with it, sustained bleeding for some time period, early menopausal symptoms, and this drug they had put her on had caused her to gain 25 pounds in about 90 days or less. So she came on as a client, and now we've had about 4 days of the meals. Yesterday's meal consisted of steamed broccoli, jicama fries, black rice, potatoes. I actually had some potatoes, fried potato chunks with spiced up real nice, green beans, lentils, and yam soup, along with a mixed fruit salad. So after the first 2 days of eating a full spectrum hypernutrition meal like this, I saw her yesterday to come to pick up her meals, and she said, hey, listen, the bleeding stopped, and I decided to take myself off of that drug because one of the nasty side effects of the medroxyprogesterone is it causes significant weight gain. And she had gained 25 pounds in 90 days upon this drug. Now that the bleeding stopped, she said the number one symptom that was problematic has stopped, so why continue to take such a dangerous drug for that? Now, let me just be clear.
Yeah.
People who are on pharmaceutical medications and are moving to food solutions, I never tell them to stop taking those drugs because I know sudden stoppage of medication is one of the main causes of the Federal Adverse Events Reporting System. It can cause injury. It can cause death. So I never tell them stop taking their drugs. You're a doctor and you have to make that decision yourself. I will show you the alternative pathway. Give me the name of that drug. I will show you a nutrition-based routine to be able to accomplish the same thing the way that nature designed it.
Well, I got more questions, so, but just, I want to get to this phone call, but I just want to be clear. When you say fried jicama fries, you're not talking about actually frying them because you're a raw food chef. They're probably dehydrated or something.
You know the jicama, the beautiful.
I love jicama.
You know the jicama, that beautiful root bulb. Just love it. It's so watery and it's got that crispy texture, kind of like a little stiffer potato. But what we do is we just take it up, carve it up to make it look like French fries, take the peel off, of course, put it in a big stainless steel bowl, and then I load it up with my special Keidi Chef spicing mix. It's about 14 different spices. And by the time you have the jicama fries, the jicama itself is very bland, but you have the crunch and all of this flavor and taste, and it is quite popular, and you can eat as much of it as you possibly want. There is no overdosing on superfoods.
Let's go to Mikhail calling us from L.A. Good morning, sir.
Shalom. This is Mikhail, the Hebrew Israelite. I have been a vegan for 43 years, but there used to be this vegan restaurant called The Good Life on Crenshaw.
I remember it well. I broadcast from there one time.
Okay. She was a very good friend of mine, and she was a vegan too. But I saw she got cancer and died. She was just 60. But the point is, she was eating fried vegetables. She was a vegan, but fried food is cancer. It would take you out. It's one thing you can't eat is, fried food, all these alternatives like salt, sugar, processed food, junk food. And one question I want to ask, a lot of vegans smoke marijuana. What do you say about marijuana? Because I've learned marijuana got 400 chemicals in it. What would you have to say about that?
Okay. Thanks, Mikhail. And yeah, that was really sad.
Great.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Aoife Sade, praise be her eternal name. She was such an anchor for the community. And back in those days, Dominique, we were all really just being introduced to this lifestyle. And one of the things that was very popular at the restaurant and in our lives were soy vegan burgers. Now, in context, I say to people, avoid these highly processed imitation meats. Avoid them like a plague. You mentioned Beyond, and there was another one, Impossible. I have never eaten them. I've never tasted them because I do not believe in highly processed vegetables. Your body doesn't recognize it as food. And so, praise be her eternal name. I've had 3 vegan friends and associates die of chronic diseases that now we know better. And so we can do better than that. But he had mentioned about burning hemp, burning cannabis.
Right.
Hemp, cannabis. It's a superfood. Hemp seeds are a superfood. Hemp oil is a superfood. It's a magical plant for which I have a book, and we talk about 37 medicinal uses for it. But, Dominique, we do not burn vegetables and herbs and suck them into our lungs. That's contrary to nature.
Well, some of us do,
I would
Chef
say,
Keidi. Some of us do.
Well, some of us should find a better delivery method if we're looking for the cannabinoids as a sort of pain reliever, because it does synchronize with the body's natural endocannabinoid system, which is a system for pain relief. It's useful. If we're looking for the elevating mood of the THC tetrahydrocannabinol, we can find that elevation through breathing, through saturating our body with hypernutrition, and something as simple as taking 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar and water and drinking that, and then go get some fresh air and watch how your body and your spirit elevates real quickly.
Okay, we got to go into news.
These substances.
We got to do part 2 on the other side of news, traffic, and sports. Oh, I can't wait to hear about this. I'm also concerned about the pesticides in cannabis. Chef Keidi Awadu is my guest. KBLA Talk 1580.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
I'm Bree Wood with 4 Things You Should Know with BIN News. A massive storm is causing historic rain and tornadoes across the Midwest and South, with nearly 50 million people at risk from Texas to the Great Lakes. Catastrophic flooding and power outages are widespread, and flash flood warnings affect 1.5 million people in 6 states. New York City Mayor Eric Adams' federal corruption case has been dismissed with prejudice, meaning it can't be reopened. The Justice Department ordered prosecutors to drop the case. The Senate voted 51-48 to block President Trump's tariffs on Canadian products, with 4 Republicans joining Democrats. The resolution, led by Democrat Tim Kaine, may stall in the House. And The Weeknd's upcoming film Hurry Up Tomorrow, featuring producer Metro Boomin and others, debuted its second trailer at CinemaCon. The film will be released in theaters on May 26th. Get BIN News on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Since the dawn of baseball, countless players have heard the call of destiny. Witness the heroes of the game in ballparks nationwide. Get your tickets today at MLB.com/tickets. Major League Baseball trademarks used with permission.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
I'm a bad man.
Los Angeles was the epicenter of women's college basketball this season, and the awards are rolling in. USC star Juju Watkins was voted the Naismith Player of the Year by a national panel of coaches and media. UCLA coach Corey Close is the Naismith Coach of the Year, and UCLA center Lauren Betts was voted Defensive Player of the Year. Watkins is a finalist for the Wooden Award, which also goes to the nation's top college basketball player. The sophomore from Compton led USC to a 30-3 season before suffering a knee injury in the second round of the NCAA tournament. Watkins finished the season averaging 23.9 points, 6.8 rebounds, and 3.4 assists. Close, in her 14th season at UCLA, led the Bruins to a 34-2 record and their first Final Four. Betts, a 6'7 junior from Centennial, Colorado, ranks 5th in the nation in block shots. She has 18 in the Bruins' last 5 games. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
For all of us, this generation and the next, there is simply no place in our lives for litter. And yet, it's everywhere we look. And unfortunately, it does belong to all of us. So, let's come together and create a litter-free, clean California, once and for all. Remember to properly dispose of your trash and recycling. Secure truckloads with tarps to keep debris from flying out. Clean out your car when you're at a gas station. Take pride in your community by organizing a cleanup event. Or join a cleanup event near you. Zero litter is the goal. Join us at cleanca.com. That's cleanca.com. Let's do it together. Brought to you by Caltrans. cleanca.com.
Hi, I'm Dominique DiPrima, and it's almost time to celebrate KBLA's 4th anniversary, coming up Juneteenth 2025. We'll be marking the achievement with 4 key community events, including a special symposium, luncheon, and brain trust hosted by me entitled The State of Black Women in Los Angeles. Keep it locked here for details on how to join us for this groundbreaking symposium examining the unique challenges, triumphs, and contributions of Black women in Los Angeles in the areas of education, healthcare, community leadership, cultural and political contributions. This public convocation will provide a critical forum to address the specific social, economic, and political realities facing Black women in LA today. We'll go live with a radio broadcast and YouTube live stream, a public discussion, and a private dialogue with some of LA's most impactful women. It's an affirmation of Black women standing at the intersection of race and gender in times of adversity while demonstrating remarkable resilience and leadership. We will listen and we will speak out and be heard, all in service of finding opportunities and solutions. Please plan to join us in celebrating our 4th anniversary by amplifying the voices of Black women. For more on our symposium and 4 events celebrating 4 years on the air, simply stay tuned or keep an eye on KBLA1580.com and help make this Juneteenth more jubilant with all of us at KBLA Talk 1580.
Taxes was taxing. Now taxes is relaxing when you file for free.
I can file for free? TurboTax Free Edition. Roughly 37% of filers qualify. Simple Form 1040 returns only. See if you qualify at turbotax.com/free. I can file for free.
Now this is taxes. File for free with TurboTax Free Edition and get your maximum refund. No schedules except for earned income tax credit, child tax credit, and student loan interest. See if you qualify at turbotax.com/free.
Broadcasting live from Leimert Park, USA. Welcome back to your home for unapologetically progressive radio. KBLA Talk 1580.
Keidi Awadu is with me. He is a Living Superfood nutrition expert, a raw vegan chef. Now you deal with celebs and others, right? The science of food. But we were talking right before News, Traffic, and Sports about cannabis. And some of us don't like edibles because you don't know how long it's going to last or if you'll ever come down. But for those who, inhale or even ingest, all these reports now about sort of unregulated Wild West use of pesticides is a huge concern for me. You were talking about alternatives to get those feelings, but also I'd be interested in your thoughts about ingesting these chemicals into our bodies and or lungs in the form of pesticides.
Yeah, well, you are absolutely right. Years ago, right after the death of Eazy-E, I did a field test because I had made the hypothesis that much of the marijuana, ganja, that was saturating the community was contaminated. At that time, we were talking about chemicals like paraquat, which is a weed killer being sprayed on crops, and some of these marijuana harvesters or growers would, once their crops were sprayed, they had a very short period of time to harvest it and sell something, and that something was that crap that was saturating the community. So I did this. I sent some soldiers out to different parts of the city. They said, bring me back a teaspoon sample of marijuana that you find in your neighborhood. I put these samples into a glucose solution to mimic the internal function of our lungs, and I cultured them at 96 degrees, and after 4 days, 75% of them were growing bacteria. I came to the conclusion that this could very well likely have been the source of the bronchitis and the asthma and the severe lung reaction that Eazy-E suffered. And then there was a whole other phase to the investigation of his death. That was published in a book called AIDS Exposed. So going forward, heating these chemicals or heating these natural elements up to burning temperature does cause the formation of secondary, tertiary chemicals such as polyaromatic hydrocarbons, heterocyclic amines, and these other chemical terms for carcinogens, cancer-causing agents. I'm writing a book right now called A Year Against Cancer, and people will be shocked to see the long list of things we commonly do, including over 70 pharmaceutical medications that are known to be triggers for increasing the risk of cancer. Cancer in America now, Dominique, has reached 2 out of every 5 people.
That's insane.
In ancient Kemet, in ancient Egypt and ancient Kemet, it was 1 out of 400.
Wow. Okay. Well, back to focusing on what we want, not what we don't want. When it's things you were saying we could do, we want to get some of the great feelings of cannabis. But I think even if you've never had those great feelings, just great feelings in general, you said saturating the body with superfoods. What does that mean, and what does it do?
Yeah. Without going through the mechanisms of how cannabis works, it essentially dulls the neurological system. My philosophy is excite the neurological system, but do it naturally. Keep it functioning. They say our brain processes 5 billion bytes of information per second. What if you can get it up to 9 billion? Does that mean you get a chance to enjoy so much more of life because you see life and you witness life in real time as opposed to being dulled down and witnessing life in half time, like when you're drunk or on these neurological suppressive drugs? So that's the idea. Get life, get lively, laugh. Comedians are a blessing to all of us. Comedians should be regarded as healers, especially if they're actually good comedians.
If they're
and
actually
not just
funny,
up there
yeah.
on stage.
Yeah.
If they're actually funny. So let's laugh. Let's celebrate. Let's enjoy conversations like you and I are having today. Let's talk fast and listen even faster. There's so many ways that we've been tricked out of enjoying the life that the Creator gave us. Now is a time to stop that tricking, stop that being hoodwinked, bamboozled, and get our lives back. And that includes dealing with these politicians. Let's stop allowing their chaos to become stress in our daily lives.
Ah, well said. Give me an example of some superfoods. And I'm assuming saturated means like basically eating every meal full of superfoods.
Yeah, you want to do that. And also simple things like intermittent fasting. Don't eat so often. Many people, they take on a breakfast that ruins their day physiologically. Don't do that. Don't send your children to school all amped up on processed wheat products, on sugar, on sodas and these other things, and they have this intellectual crash, and then we talk about the school system is failing them. No, that is not always the case. We can do better than that. So superfoods, let's just put a few of the best on the list. We have fruits, a number of them are superfruits. Prunes, believe it or not, have a very powerful antioxidant effect, maybe the highest on that index. Fruits like goji berries are excellent. Strawberries, blueberries, all the dark-colored fruits that contain the resveratrol, powerful immune system builders. And when it comes to protein, I like to get my protein from what I call clean protein. I love lentils, black beans. I will make a frijole bean dip that's just loaded not only with the proteins naturally in there, but I'll also spice it in a way so that all of the spices I add only add to the spectrum of nutrition profile. Chocolate is a powerful superfood, but the way chocolate is most of the time commercially sold, they add the milk to it and they add the refined white sugar to it, so they turn what is a natural superfood into a potential toxin that causes our body to undergo what is called dysregulated lipid metabolism. What does that mean in simple words? It makes us fat. Clogs our arteries.
Dysregulated
and a whole bunch of other
lipid metabolism. Okay, and then I'm just unpacking things you said because they whiz by very fast, and maybe we need more superfoods to keep up with you, Chef Keidi. You said taking in some apple cider vinegar. That's one of the things people talk about for weight loss. But what are you recommending it for?
Well, I recommend it as, for one, it's a good sleep, good for helping us to sleep better, deeper, with more rapid eye movement, dreaming going on. It's also very good for helping us to keep our gut microbiome balanced. And as you've heard, most of us heard, good health begins in the gut. And that's a critical function of the microbiome. Most people don't know that 86% of the feel-good hormone, serotonin, is actually manufactured by the bacteria digesting the fiber in our gut.
Wow.
And that's a very powerful axis there, that it's into our cardiovascular health, it's into our mental health, and it is into our energetic, systematic, or bioenergetic health. So knowing all of this, from the rooter to the tutor, as Ray Charles or Lou Rawls used to sing, from the rooter to the tutor, we can manage our health with the wisest practices possible. Dominique, there's so much of this information, and I am so deep into it that right now I am simultaneously writing and getting ready to publish books number 59 and 50 and 60.
Okay, Chef Keidi. Maybe if I eat more superfoods, I'll get my first one done. I've been working on it for 10 years. But let me follow up here also with something. Well, first of all, where do we get all these books? I don't want to let that go by. Where do we get all these books? How do we get your food? How do we get you to deliver like that lucky lady who, is not bleeding anymore?
That's right. Well, I'm going to give out my text number here in just a minute so people get a pen ready. But you can go to my website, Keidi.biz, and you'll see my newest book, The Stem Cell Revolution, which is a landmark book. There's no book ever been published on the natural, holistic means of activating stem cells. And as you know, this is the frontier of regenerative medicine. This is the frontier of medical research. My text number, don't call, text me first, and I'll call you back, 702-580-0662. You can always reach me through Dominique. I'm sure your office will be able to help us connect, because people do need healing, and I am here as a healer for this generation, and I want to do even better. I can do better by helping more people.
Is pomegranate a superfood?
Absolutely.
Someone's asking.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, pomegranate is great for cleaning excessive cholesterol out of the blood. Many people are dealing with cardiovascular diseases, and nearly all of them, including many kidney diseases, begin with the clogging of our arteries and our blood vessels, atherosclerosis. So pomegranate juice is a superfood. Hey, I make a raw pomegranate cheesecake, Dominique, that'll make you want to slap somebody.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure because I've tasted your food on more than one occasion, and it's always delicious. Chef Keidi Awadu is my guest, and we're talking his system, Living Superfood Nutrition. We're getting ready to be ready on KBLA Talk 1580.
More of First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
The Eaton Canyon fire devastated many black families in Altadena, taking more than just homes. It took memories, legacies, and generational wealth. The heart of a black community is now in jeopardy, but Justice Coalition, led by Gage and King LA Lawyers for the People, are here to help. If you've lost your home, we are standing by to hold insurance companies and utilities accountable for the damage caused. When the community suffers, we all suffer. Together, we can rebuild what was lost. Your recovery starts today. Call 626-429-1259. That's 626-429-1259. Or visit www.eatonfirelawyers.net. Justice Coalition, Gage and King, LA Lawyers for the People. We got you. Call 626-429-1259. Visit www.eatonfirelawyers.net. Again, 626-429-1259. This is attorney advertising. Past results do not guarantee future outcomes. Legal representation is provided by licensed attorneys.
At Providence, health equity is the foundation of our community health initiatives, ensuring care reaches those who need it most. Heart disease is the leading cause of death in America. African Americans face a higher risk of life-threatening issues like hypertension, the number one cause of stroke. 55% of black adults have high blood pressure. The good news is 80% of heart disease is preventable with healthy lifestyle changes and patient-centered care provided by the Providence Heart and Vascular Institute. From routine screenings to advanced procedures, Providence provides comprehensive care for the heart conditions that overly impact our community by ensuring patients receive treatments tailored to their needs. Let's stop the trend of being 30% more likely to die from heart-related problems. Take charge of your heart health with world-class cardiologists who deliver the compassionate care you deserve. Visit providence.org/SoCalHeart. That's providence.org/SoCalHeart to request an appointment.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. Worried about eviction? You have rights, and Stay Housed LA can help. Stay Housed LA is a partnership between LA County, the City of Los Angeles, and local service providers. From Lancaster to Long Beach, we're here to help you with tenant education workshops, legal clinics, free legal services for eligible tenants, and online resources about tenant protection laws. Don't face eviction alone. Call our hotline at 1-888-694-0040. That's 1-888-694-0040. Or visit stayhousedla.org. Stay Housed LA, keeping Los Angeles residents in their homes. Stay Housed LA, your rights, your home, our community. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
The conversation continues right now with Dominique DiPrima on First Things First.
It does continue right now. So happy to have Keidi Awadu back with us, and hopefully we won't wait such a long time before you come back. Keidi, it's KEIDITD.biz. If you want to find out more, get the books, get some nutrition, text to 702-580-0664. A couple quick questions for you because we're so trendy about foods, and there's always, this will kill you, this won't kill you. There's always a news cycle going on. I've been hearing a lot of people saying oatmeal is not a good thing, and the same with quinoa, that they're things we thought that thought were healthy that really are not. Where are you on those things?
Okay. First of all, I heard you give out the text number. Had a slight correction on that. 702-580-0662.
Oh, 62. Okay, I wrote it down wrong.
Oatmeal. Oatmeal is a favorite. Oatmeal is delicious. We can prepare it with superfood ingredients. When I make my oatmeal, I'll begin first by stewing some apples, and then I'll add some raisins to that and lots of cinnamon. Then I put in the oatmeal and bring it up, and I add some ginger, some coconut oil, maybe some chopped walnuts or almonds, and put into it. And then it becomes a superfood meal. Try not to over-sweeten it. Use a little turbinado, which is evaporated cane juice, or wild desert honey. and you've created a superfood meal as your first meal of the day, oatmeal. You can add strawberries, blueberries. The problem is today, oats are grown with glyphosate, the Roundup, the weed killer. In fact, when we look at America's staple crops like the wheat, like sugar beets, soybeans, rice, oatmeal, 95% of these products are nowadays grown with weed killer, glyphosate, Roundup, the specific brand, and this glyphosate is now known and shown to be a carcinogen, cancer-causing agent. So when you seem very surprised and shocked that 2 out of 5 Americans are expected to be diagnosed with cancer at this time, and it's 1 out of 2 for our children's generation, we're going to have to come up with a constant set of strategies. The best way to deal with cancer is to never get cancer. And you can do this, but you got to live the lifestyle for real. Ain't no half-stepping on this. Cancer is too serious a disease, a pandemic that the medical industry, they're not alerting us to the fact that in our children's lifestyle, in our children's lifetime, 1 out of 2 will be diagnosed with cancer.
So how do you avoid the Roundup in our oatmeal? Is it, is it organic enough?
We need to be reading the labels.
Yeah.
Organic does not necessarily exclude toxic ingredients, but organic is a great place to start. Okay. Non-GMO labels appear on many products. When we're in the store, we've got to learn to turn the packages over, especially if it's processed food. Hey, you don't need to put the detailed ingredient layer or a label on broccoli.
Right.
You don't need to put that on zucchini and squash and lettuce.
Yeah.
But these packaged foods are almost by definition unnatural foods. And so that's where reading the label is an absolute must. Here's one, Dominique. Most people don't know this one. There's a word called epicite, E-P-I-C-Y-T-E. I want your listeners to look that word up, epicite. It's known as the sterilization gene. It was created by a company out of San Diego, and it was inserted into the food market probably about 15 years or so ago. Epicite is added to products, but these manufacturers are not required by law to tell us which products contained genetically engineered ingredients. Now, let's look at corn. I never eat corn unless it is certified organic, which means it does not contain the epicite or glyphosate or other products. If this sterilization corn is out here, and a lot of families are eating corn chips, Dominic, you use your imagination. 2 bags are on the shelf. One bag says organic blue corn chips, which is what the natural corn looks like from Central America. And the other bag has the yellow or white chips. The bigger bag is less than half the price of the smaller bag that says organic. Which bag do you think would contain fertility-controlling ingredients?
That's a great point. Okay, so the clock is ticking so fast when you're here. What about quinoa? Yes, no, maybe? I mean, other than making sure it doesn't have Roundup.
We do want it certified organic. Quinoa is a wonderful superfood grain. Quinoa, you have spelt, you have many of the ancient grains such as teff as well. These grains, people are now increasingly substituting these grains for the genetically engineered wheat varieties, especially this dwarf wheat variety that's been out here for about 30, 35 years now. It produces much more bulk of each grain, but it causes much higher levels of gastroenteritis, gastric stress. People are getting Crohn's disease now from this and gaining weight and can't control the weight. One of the first things I say to people, when you want to bring your weight down, can you go 30 days without eating bread? Bread has so many problems nowadays. I haven't touched standard bread for 15, 20 years, and I don't even use the sprouted breads anymore. Even though they're much, much better, they've still been baked at unnaturally high temperatures, which creates these substances called advanced glycation end products, AGEs, and AGEs make you age.
Okay, we're close to the end of the hour, amazingly. You mentioned hydration as a key thing the body needs. Talk a little bit about that, because I think most of us are dehydrated. At least that's what Mr. Gregory used to say.
I can remember the mornings at KJLH when I would come in, and you were already on the air and going, and I can recall 2 or 3 times when you had a scratchy throat. You recall those incidents?
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I brought in my hibiscus juice with ginger and lime in it, and I put that in a cup, and I would say, watch this. And I would give that cup to you, and you would drink it, and by the end of the commercial, Dominique's bright, brilliant voice was back where we wanted to hear it. That's what hydration does. And we learn how to do this. Cucumber water, lime water. You have the master cleanse. So many mechanisms. I even make my own nut milks, and one that I now call the Rejuve smoothie, a rejuvenation smoothie that stimulates stem cell activation.
It's amazing. I mean, you're like a chef with a chemistry set.
My father was a chemist. In my earliest career, right out of high school, was in a microbiology laboratory, so I do have that background to wield as well.
Absolutely, you do. Well, it's always a pleasure to talk with you. I hope we won't wait so long. We've got about a minute here, Chef Keidi Awadu. What do you want to send us on our way with today?
Your doctors are not telling you the truth. Many of them don't know that what you're suffering from is dysregulated lipid metabolism, and that includes all of the metabolic disorders, including cancer and non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. We can do so much better than that, but we've got to make a plan. How long do you plan to live might be the question that we all need to answer this year. Thank you so much, Dominique, for this opportunity to tune into this KTLA audience. Hey, or KBLA audience, I'm hooked. I can't wait to come back.
Okay, can't wait to have you back. And I see the folks in the YouTube conversation, the comments are there just as well. Yeah, there's questions and conversation. We'll get to that. But look, you can get his books at KeidiTD.biz. It's KEIDITD, right? .biz. Get his books there. Find out about getting some food delivered to you. 702-580-0662. Do not call, just text. Keidi Awadu, a pleasure to talk with you. Tavis Smiley's on deck next. You know he's got an incredible show, as always, because what? It's Thursday. And I'm going to leave you with my Dick Gregory quote that I have memorized. He said the leading causes of death in America are lack of hydration, lack of exercise, and sleep deprivation. Leading causes of death, according to Mr. Dick Gregory. Tap in with me on all the social media. I'm at DiPrima Radio, DiPrima, and then radio. We're at KBLA 1580 everywhere, and love to keep the conversation going even after the show is over. Like my mama, the late, great poet laureate Diane DiPrima used to say, history is now, and we're making it together. Until tomorrow, be healthy, be hydrated. One love.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood with 4 Things You Should Know with BIN News. A massive storm is causing historic rain and tornadoes across the Midwest and South, with nearly 50 million people at risk from Texas to the Great Lakes. Catastrophic flooding and power outages are widespread, and flash flood warnings affect 1.5 million people in 6 states. New York City Mayor Eric Adams' federal corruption case has